Big news this week. Dan Tripp, you've had a haircut.
I've had a haircut, everyone. So for all of those who saw me with my really long hair, and by that I mean the two of you, the hair has now been cut. It's now not.
And you look like Orlando Bloom.
What? Really?
You do. I swear to God. I had to.
Thank you.
I mean, it's wild. I actually sit there and think, God damn it.
He's gone from
was gay.
He's gone from top knot Shoreditch hipster to Orlando Bloom in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean hipster instead. Yeah, that's the.
You would never remove the hipster. How do you remove hipster from your life, from your title? You can't.
What we're yet to pick up on is the fact that those glasses have no lenses.
Yeah, I know. You can just put your finger through.
Is that part of the trend? You actually got to have glasses with no lenses.
No, I literally can't see you if I take them. I'm very blind.
No, dude. No, seriously, that's you said in the other podcast that you would if you cut your hair, you'd never notice. So when I saw it, I thought, well, he's cut his hair, and I certainly did notice.
It looks good. What can I say?
It does look good.
I went out of the hairdressers and I was like, damn, they did a good job. I mean,
what made you decide you're going to go short?
Because it's hot. And another subject that we want to address as British people in the UK right now.
It's hot, isn't it?
It's too hot.
Yeah.
In fact, I would call it too hot.
It is too hot.
I love this discussion because it's hit like 20 degrees and we're all melting. And the British population have a threshold of somewhere between 15 degrees and 20 degrees Celsius. That is all we can manage. Anything above 20 degrees and we melt. Anything below 15 degrees and we're freezing. Saying this after like spending a year living in Toronto in Canada, where it gets to like 35, 40 degrees in the summer and minus 20 degrees in the winter, it was beautiful because it was very consistent. Like the weather is the same every day of the season. So you just go out and you enjoy yourself. Whereas here it could be 22 degrees today and tomorrow it'll be like 6 degrees and pouring down with rain.
You just never know. You never know. You walk out, it's raining.
It could be hot and raining at the same time. I remember there was actually one day that they did all 4 seasons. I was like, well, it's bloody cloudy today. Ah, nice.
Yeah,
it
was only a couple of weeks ago. It was super sunny and it starts hailing. And you're like, well,
I remember that.
I don't know if you remember the day when it snowed and then the sun came out and I was like, well, this is mental. Like, how can it be snowing and then be hot?
We're being so British right now. Everyone listening that's not in the UK is just going to be like, what are these guys talking about?
Well, we really like talking about the weather.
Yeah, we really do like talking about the weather. My wife is forever hot and I am forever cold in this bloody house.
Oh, we're the other way around.
Really?
I'm always boiling and my wife's always got a blanket nearby.
Oh, what? No, seriously. My wife would say put a dressing gown on over, turn the heating up.
Yeah,
our old
absolutely.
house.
Absolutely.
Our old house
Save
was
the pennies.
I called it the igloo, right?
Go for the layers, man.
It was freezing. I remember one day it was -1 and I went outside to warm up because it was so bloody cold in that house. It was horrible. But that's when you're 20, right? And you need to save the pennies for the beers.
Do you know what else we like talking about? That's not just the weather. Beer.
Oh, I did say we're saving pennies for the beers.
Oh, that was very clever. That was and that was an intentional transition. There, very impressive.
Some might call it a segue.
Episode 6 of the podcast. We're getting pretty good at this, man.
Yeah, let's not celebrate too soon.
Yeah. No, we're going to have to go through the standard thing. Tripp, you're the wild card, right? Because, Jesus, you got your haircut. Didn't see this coming. You are the wild card.
Truly. Hamish.
You've got loads of nicknames, actually. I'm starting to notice now. Yeah, you've got Two Drinks Tripp, Big Sip Tripp, Orlando Bloom, the wild card. Man.
You look so serious right now.
The serious now Tripp. I'm going to call you Serious Tripp.
It's the mini moustache as well that does it.
I know, I haven't shaved today. Sorry, everyone. Don't for the podcast.
It looks very American gangster, actually.
I'm a man of many faces. What can I say?
Right. Hamish, what are you drinking?
Oh, my bloody cough. All right.
He's gone. He's done.
He's done.
I'm done. All right. Good night, everybody. I am on my birthday drink.
Oh my goodness! I haven't seen one of those in years.
That is classy, isn't it? And this is really good podcasting, everyone. I'm literally showing it and not saying it. I'm on the Desperado.
The tension in the room.
That well-known combo of lager and tequila.
Well, I'm calling this Dirterano, right? Because I don't have any lime. So,
I got you.
Yeah, it's a bit, a Desperado with no lime. It's a bit of a Dirterano, I'm calling it. So, I'm on the Desperado tonight. I've got 3 bottles of it. And, this stuff is, well, let's just say tonight might get a little bit ropey.
Good job you put the work in beforehand, let's be honest.
I've got the day off tomorrow as well, so here we go.
Ooh.
All right, Simon, what the hell is in that goddamn mug?
Showed off a beer of some kind.
So I promised last time, and I have one of my homebrewed American pale ales. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Have you got work tomorrow?
No.
Nor have I.
So
Jesus.
This is a I basically have just over a pint's worth of amber brown ale, which has nice biscuity caramel undertones. Actually, it's meant to be, on calculations, it's meant to be about 6%, but it hits like a truck.
Oh dear!
So it's good job I don't have work
you
tomorrow.
Could be on it tonight as well.
Yeah.
This is good. Have we got a name for this? I actually thought about this for too long. You know when I said the big mustache and didn't finish it? And then I sat down and thought of this for way too long. And we should call it Big Med Stash. Because your name's Big Med Stash.
Oh, that's very good.
The Big Med Stash.
The Big Med Stash. Let's roll with it.
Yeah, that's what your beer is called, the Big Med Stash.
And it's like your stash of beer, right?
Yeah.
It works on so many levels.
Yeah,
I can see that you did take some time to think about it.
I did. I suddenly got in the car and was like, Big Med Stash. That's it. God, you're a genius, Hamish. Anyway, wild card, Big Trip, 2-drink Orlando Bloom. What have you got?
It is quite wild card because I am not drinking a beer. This is crazy. I know.
Interesting.
No,
I am drinking. Well, I should probably show you the bottle. Actually, it is a Pinot Grigio wine.
What?
Oh my goodness! From the bottle as well.
No, I got a glass. I just want to show you the bottle.
Right?
Man. To be fair, it's not a wine glass because I don't own any wine glasses.
No, what are you drinking it out of?
Like a tumbler.
Oh, nice. Mate, you've gone pure festival.
I know. Well, we don't. I've only got a plastic wine glass, and I thought you'd make fun of me if I whipped out the plastic wine glass.
I was secretly hoping.
I almost certainly would have done.
I was secretly hoping you were going to torpedo the whole bottle of wine.
Oh, yeah, I was secretly. I don't have any straws, do I?
No, just down from the bottle, mate.
Well, one podcast, I'll get like a 4-pack of VK and I'll torpedo a couple of those. That'll be fun.
Oh yes, I'm still waiting. I tell you what, some of the ideas I hope that you do is stuff that I actually have done, where I do want you to show up with a bucket of Fosters.
A bucket of Fosters, or a fish bowl would be quite a good one.
An actual bucket, like just pour Fosters in a bucket.
I've got quite a lot of plant pots outside. Actually, I could probably do something with Fosters out of a plant
pots.
But anyway, just for the listeners at home, it's a Pinot Grigio from Italy. 12%, better than all these beers that people have been drinking. Very strong.
I have sorry, Tripp. I've only just had just a little bit of this, and anyway, it's going to be good.
Cheers, everyone. Also, it's a very hot day. I feel like a glass of wine.
All right, everybody.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Okay. Yeah, what's the order of business, Simon?
What do we do on this podcast? I've completely
forgotten. What do we do?
To drink. That's it. That's to drink.
All right, so the first part of our podcast, we're going to just focus a little bit on some of the gameplay we've had as a group recently. The skirmish season has started. Tripp and I have been to different local game stores to partake in pod-based armory events and small events, so a little bit to talk about there. And then we've had some questions from the community about which Monarch heroes we're building up decks for at the moment, so we might touch on that. The main event today, we've got another interview with another New Zealand player, very much looking forward to hearing this interview. Thank you for Hamish for sorting this out. And Tom Penny, who top 8 in the Calling ProQuest event this last weekend, has come to talk to us about his experiences at the Calling. And then just to finish things off, we might touch on a bit of controversy that's been released today in a statement.
Oh, I love controversy.
Dun, dun, dun.
But we're going to have a bit of our own controversy, and we're going to talk about what we love and maybe not love about Blitz Limited and classic constructed formats.
Hang on, this isn't fair. This isn't fair, right? We can't just have 2v1, right? This isn't a handicap match.
Hey,
even though
you don't know what we're going to say.
No, that's true. That's true. And who is the one?
We're going to say.
It's not. It might be me. It might be the Desperados. Anyway,
2 points, 1 push.
That's a completely different show.
Right. So, Tripp,
what are we doing?
Tell me about your recent trip to the seaside.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so I went to the seaside.
You sound like you're at the seaside.
I'm at the seaside.
Hello, everyone. Tripp here.
What noise does a sea got? Right, let's press on. I went to Portsmouth for the day, which was very lovely. I went with my wife because we both love going to the seaside. But then she was very nice and let me abandon her for about 3 hours or so to go play a first edition sealed event at a Fistful of Dice, which is in which is near Portsmouth. It's just outside of Portsmouth city.
Did you bury her in the sand?
Yeah, I did not bury her in the sand. I think she sat outside a pub.
Oh, that's fair.
And it was a fantastic event. There was a pod of 6. Met a couple of people from the Discord. So Vlad, who I've played against a few times, and the famous Darren of Darren's Card Store. I'm sure many people know Darren's Card Store.
Yeah, man.
Singles Card Store. Met him in
the
Flesh and Blood for the first time, which I saw his name and I was like, "Are you Darren of Darren's Card Store?" And he was like, "Yeah, I know. You've bought a lot of cards from me." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, yeah." But it was a really good event. I played Prism. I managed to win, which was great. I won some good prizes, some really, really good prizes actually. So big shout out to Fistful of Dice for the prize support for that event. And yeah, it was fantastic. Great to met some new players. They weren't new to the game. They've been playing for a while, but they weren't sort of on the Discord yet. So it was good to chat with them and tell them about the community and everything. So yeah, really good day. And Portsmouth is very nice for a day out, especially when it's very sunny.
Cool. Love to hear it.
Yeah. That sounds. I'm jealous. That's all I had to say. I'm jealous.
What I would like to say is thank you to Organised Play EU, who put on the skirmish event that Dan and I played in together.
It's fantastic.
It was a really good event actually. It ran pretty well to time, although there were 100 and something competitors, so there were 7 rounds of Swiss and a top 8. But they had, between each round, they had a random giveaway prize ranging from cold foil cards to boxes of first edition Monarch. So I just wanted to put a shout out to them. Fantastic event on a Sunday, and it was run really well. Based in Greece, I think.
Super well, really, really well, and just getting the tournament experience is really good. And trying to look at those little mistakes that you made because of tournament fatigue, and just trying to think, like in the second skirmish, I was so zoned in, I completely forgot that like Phantasm was even a thing, and I was playing against Rob from Tolarian Dropouts, and he was playing Prism, and I just didn't even think about the fact that I could break his attacks with like 6 power cards, and it just completely left my mind completely that was a thing that I could do, because I was just so focused in on my own game plan. I was just forgot that was a thing, and then I lost. And then in the next game I played against another Prism, and in that one I did amazingly because I did remember that Phantasm was a thing. But it's just amazing how the tiredness can get to you, and you forget the very basics of the game, and you just have to try and work on that and think, don't get so focused in on what you're doing that you forget about what the opponent's trying to do. And like, it's a tough skill. Tournament management is a tough skill, and you need to work on it. I think work on your stamina.
It flows into one of the questions actually that one of the community members threw out to us. Apologies, because it's all on Discord, so I have no idea what your real name is. So I'm just going to say Jao Genstu. So he said preparations for event strategies and how they differ from Blitz and CC. Now, we were talking about, you guys were talking about tournament fatigue and so on. So is there any sort of preparations that you guys do prior to these, online events that you've been taking part of? And he did say, what's the difference between Blitz and CC? Bit of a difficult question, I believe, to ask at this point, because I don't think we've really knuckled into a CC, tournament event. All I could probably say on that is it's going to be harder. It's going to be longer. It's going to need more brain power on that one. So just whatever, I'd say whatever's Tripp I don't know why I was going to say Tripp. Simon and Tripp, whatever Simon and Tripp have got for you guys to prepare for Blitz, just expect you're going to need to do a little bit more preparation and mental thought with CC.
So when I know I've got a Blitz event coming up, I always go for a walk beforehand. So I go for like an hour-long walk around town just to like chill out. I always have a big glass of water beforehand. I think it's really important to stay hydrated. You will play better if you are hydrated. I honestly believe that. And just make sure you have some snacks and stuff. Like if you're playing a webcam event, it's very easy to just go off and get some snacks from the kitchen. But I tried to have something like on my desk or near my desk that I can just eat when I'm feeling a bit peckish, just if I'm a bit hungry. And also try, if your game finishes early, try and relax a bit. Like I find that you can just start like thinking about the previous game too much, and I think maybe it's good if you can like switch off, listen to some music or something in between games. It's definitely not something you'd be able to do in a real life tournament, but for a webcam you can kind of just chill out a bit. I believe like Shin always used to watch The Office in between games when he was doing Skirmish Season 1. He would just like, as soon as the game would finish, he'd put The Office back on and watch that in the background just to like keep himself like chilled out. I think that's a really good thing to do too. Is like between games, if you've got a bit of time, make the most of that time. Like if you get completely blown up by someone, like a Kano just turn 2s you or something, just end it and move on. And the last thing is also make sure you shuffle your cards really well between games. That's what I think. That's the first thing I do when a game finishes is shuffle my cards properly. I think it's really important to do in Flesh and Blood, because if you don't shuffle properly, all your blues end up clumped together. So just good advice, I think, is just to make sure you shuffle your deck really well, because you'll probably end up better.
I'm a fan of that, because actually when I first started playing, I would torture myself and look at the next hand or the next hand and just see what was coming up, and actually I think now I've changed. If as soon as the game finishes, win or lose, I just shuffle the cards. And something I learned from sort of a sporting background is just forget the previous play, forget the previous game, and move on. Like everything is a new experience. You just have to bring 100% effort to the next game and forget what the result was, whether it was a win or a lose. Forget the result. Get from a clean slate on the next game. So I'd agree with Dan. I always have a big glass of water by the computer level when we have webcam matches. I'll always have cereal bars or snacks or fruit nearby just for between games. I don't usually get the pleasure of a walk before or between games. I actually prefer it when a game runs long and then I just go straight into the next game, because I don't have time to think and just carry on. But as I just mentioned, often with webcam tournaments, I'm dealing with kids or family and just trying to get through to the next game without too much stress. So at the game store, I like to go for a wander between, have a look around at what's on offer at the game store, and try and not to get myself in too much trouble.
Yeah, no, I haven't been to too many tournaments in the Flesh and Blood side of things, but I've been to quite a few card game tournaments in different sort of games. So the only advice I'd sort of give anyone in terms of what Simon and Tripp are saying is pretty much just bang on, do that. So one thing I like to do prior, like before I go to an event, is I like to have a game, like, so if I can, the night before, just like a game with the deck I know I want to play with, just to sort of just get yourself it's like a little pre-warm up of just knowing what you're going to do prior to doing that. I think that's a really important thing to do. If you're going to go to an event, it's not essential, but it's kind of cool if you can bring someone along that with you, right? You need a tag team buddy in this, because in these games, tilting is absolutely real. And there's nothing more frustrating when you go to an event and you really haven't got anyone to sort of bounce off or vent to or anything, right? Because you can sort of just like Tripp and Simon were saying, you can sort of just like lament in your head a little bit, kind of just worrying too much and beating yourself up about misplays and so on and so forth. So I like to take along one of the best people I like to bring along with me to an event is Mikey, because he's an absolute tilt master, right? But it's also, we both just bounce off each other so funny that we just go outside and we have a vape, have a breath of fresh air, and we both bring some water, and we both basically just go at each other just all day long. So it just takes the whole thing. We're just having a laugh the whole way through. And I think that's just really, really important, just to just have someone that you just go, you know what, I'm just going to chill out and have a fun day. And then we come back into our games, and then we just, and so on and so forth. I think that's incredibly important thing to do. Yeah, and that's kind of really it on top of that.
So what I was going to say is, we've all talked about in-tournament prep and strategy, but actually a whole nother chat, maybe for later, maybe for a different time, is actually pre-tournament testing and deck preparation, and actually preparation for these events. Maybe not for the armories, but for skirmishes and bigger events. You're going to be thinking about these for weeks beforehand, and maybe testing at local armories what deck you want to play. And I'm very much a fan of picking a deck and getting very good at that deck rather than chopping and changing all the time. I know other people have different opinions, but that's been my go-to. And maybe a chat another time, but testing and prep.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of our incredible interview with Matt Rogers a couple of weeks ago, who phenomenal player. And if you haven't heard already, spoiler alert, he won the calling. He's the current calling champion in Auckland, and he says he enjoys losing this game in a sense because he learns from every match that he loses, and you've got to take that from it. You've got to take those learning points. And now following on, like 2 weeks ago, we had our interview with the soon-to-be calling champion, and this week we have an interview with someone who came top 8 in the first ProQuest event in Auckland, second day of the calling event. So thank you, Hamish, for sorting this one out. And let's have a listen to Hamish asking Tom Penny some important questions.
I mean, we've been playing games for a little while now, I'd say. I think it was sometime. I think it was sometime around about September, October time.
Yeah, it was right when I had started messing around with Viserai with my friend Kieran, and we were trying to figure out what the best sort of mid-range Viserai list would be for the Road to National season then, and I was just sort of interested in the deck and trying to figure it out. So when you posted up about Viserai, best way to play it, I can't remember what you asked about it, but I was just sort of keen to talk about it, I guess, because I was keen to learn myself and see if it was worth playing it at one of the tournaments coming up at the time.
And after extensive having a go, it's turns out it wasn't that great. It was all right, but
it was pretty good. I mean, I know that Kieran took a list that I helped with to one of the Wellington Road to Nationals, and I didn't go down.
Kieran who? Which Kieran's this?
Kieran McIntyre. So he's now works as an organised play manager for Legend Story.
Session Blood.
He wasn't retired just yet. Yeah, that's the one. So he did pretty well. It was a fairly big Road to Nationals, and there was an unfortunate end to it for him where, he had a win in on the last round of Swiss, and he actually had his opponent dead, but they both misunderstood how Arcanite Skullcap interacted with a single rune chant. So his opponent, I think, only paid 1 resource to prevent. I think he was coming with a few rune chants. He would have had to pay like 9 to prevent them, but I think he paid 3, and that got him there. But he really should have top 8'd with. He should have been the first Viserai to top 8.
Oh man!
So it was unfortunate, and Kieran very rarely makes any mechanical mistakes like that. But hopefully he'll forgive me for bringing that up.
Well, he certainly learned how an Arcanite Skull Cut worked forever then.
Oh, you never make that error again, for sure. And
no. Oh well,
but
it's still cool that he managed to get Viscera that high.
Oh, absolutely. Like he'll, I think he really liked this when Arcane came out and he wanted to make it work. So he spent a lot of time. He definitely got further than I did. I just went back to Dorinthia because it was working out for me. So.
Oh, speaking of tournaments, you've helped me with a great segue there. We just had the call in, man, and you've just been at it. I am jealous as all hell because nowhere else is getting all these big ass tournaments apart from good old New Zealand. So I want to know. I want to get your take on. There was the calling, which was a sealed event, wasn't it? Sealed and draft.
That's right. Yeah.
And then there was a Pro Quest.
Yep, there's a Pro Quest as well on a Sunday for Classic Constructed. So look, it was a great weekend. In my opinion, the best calling to date. We had a fantastic venue, a premier venue, Aotea Centre. In the heart of Auckland City, just on Queen Street, so right in Midtown, basically, central Auckland, and it was 6 rounds of sealed in the main event.
Yeah.
And for me, I probably should have just forced Prism, because I did have the equipment for it. But I played Chain in the end. I had double the amount of shadow cards. I had a Soul Reaping. I had some good Runeblade cards, but it is, in my opinion, the weakest of the 4 heroes for sealed deck. Arguably the strongest in draft, but so I won my first 3 rounds. I just thought I just need to win one more. If you start 4-0, you make the top 32 and you get into the draft. So we were talking about it as the sealed gauntlet. It's a bit of a dice roll if you can get those 4 wins or 5 wins to get into the draft, and then you can leverage your skill a little bit more. So I started very well. I was playing up against the Bolton deck in round 4. A really nice guy called Mark Anderson, and he had a very, very good deck, and I felt in control of that game. He was, I made him block out with a lot of his red take fights and whatnot, and I was just playing to I had 3 dominate cards, consuming Aftermath. I had 2 of those. So,
all right, yeah.
He went down to 1. I think I had the Aftermath, and if I somehow got a Seeds or some sort of arcane damage, I would have gone for that. But I just sort of dropped down to 1 myself on his, his big Gallantry Gold turn. But unfortunately, the Dominate didn't get me there. He drew the Rally the Rearguard to block me out, and I died to the debt. So I was all in on that play, and it didn't quite work out for me. And then, of course, I proceeded to get fatigued by Prism in round 5 and dropped. But
well,
it's how it goes sometimes.
It is, yeah. That's just the way it goes. One of the things I did want to ask is what do you reckon to a sealed format in such a with a big event like that? Does sealed work in such a a competitive calling environment?
Yeah, like I heard a lot of opinions about sealed deck in a premier event, but I think what we've got to realize is that the calling is an open event for anyone to come and play and have a go at it's definitely a professional level event, but it's still an open tournament. It's the calling, right? So I think it's a good format, honestly. In general, sealed deck. Obviously, it would be nice to just be drafting, but you can't when it's 250 players. You've got to cut down.
Of course.
I like it. I mean, there are always going to be complaints about sealed deck because you can open bad cards and there isn't really a lot you can do.
Sure.
But it's not like it's, you've qualified, you've travelled across the world to play this, World Championships or whatever, and then you've got to rely on 6 booster packs. It's not that. It's not like if World Championships was sealed deck cut to something, it would be pretty bad. But
yeah,
no, I didn't mind the sealed at all. There've been sealed callings before that I've started very well and then choked out very badly. But that was due to my own errors, of course. But no, I like it. I like the sealed format. It would be really, really good to get another calling that's not Blitz or sealed deck, to be fair. But I have enjoyed the callings this year. I certainly can't complain considering we're actually getting tournaments, unlike most of the world. I mean, fingers crossed that the calling goes ahead in Melbourne, which I'm intending to play coming up.
Oh, cool.
I think it's going to be next month, hopefully now. But obviously, there's been a bit of COVID scare in Victoria, and a bit of a lockdown, and we have what's called the Trans-Tasman bubble at the moment between New Zealand and Australia, where we can travel between without having to isolate, and that's sort of what's opened the door for us to go over and compete there. But we don't know really what's happening. It's been postponed, I think, to July. Hopefully that goes ahead, and I'll be looking forward to another sealed gauntlet.
Yeah, man. I think it's because the calling is, like you're saying, it has the flexibility, right, to be a professional level event, but at the same time you can be flexible with what sort of format you want to roll with. So I was kind of a bit weirded out when I first saw it, and on my side, just not as personally as excited, because I like constructed more than a limited format, but that's just me personally. But I understood why it needed to happen, and thought it was a good move overall. So just despite my personal opinion on it, but
yeah, I mean, look, the guys at Legend Story Studios have put a lot of work into the limited part of Monarch. Really, like it's they've really developed that set to be a great limited set.
Yeah,
I know Welcome to Wraith and Arcane Rising, they're pretty good as well, especially in draft. I must say I really didn't like the Arcane Rising sealed format. I think a lot of people probably agree with me there, but Monarch sealed is actually really good. There's Prism is a little bit stronger, I think, than the rest maybe, but it's still really good. I mean, you can do really well with Bolton and Levier, and sometimes Chain as well. But the draft of Monarch is really fantastic. I really love drafting Monarch. Having the two talents as well as the four classes to draft into, and sort of keep yourself a bit open. Drafting on one half of the table. You got the Shadow or Light, so you can stay half open, I guess. You can go into one or two classes. I really like that aspect of the draft format for Monarch, and hopefully, we might be able to sneak into a top 32 next time and draft a bit of Chain, I think, if we can get there. But we'll see. Man.
So that was the call-in. That's cool. Now, I didn't really realise that there was a constructed event going on. It was kind of weird. I felt like the calling sealed event was definitely far more advertised out. Right. And then this ProQuest, I didn't even know it was a ProQuest. I thought it was, when I heard this constructed, I was like, oh, maybe it was just some side thing going on, but no, it's a legitimate ProQuest constructed event kicked off, and I was like, whoa, what the hell? I would have loved to have just seen that stream, and for a CC level, like big time. But how many people were there?
I think it was either 120 or 128, one of the two, I can't recall. So just under 130 players.
Well, still over 100 people. That's insane.
Yeah, big event. I mean, there was 243 in the main event, so a lot of players came up for the weekend. A lot of Aucklanders obviously wanting to test out their new decks, or maybe their old decks, and maybe a shame that there wasn't coverage for the constructed, but there was a lot going on there that weekend. They had a lot to do for the main event, and that was their focus, obviously. Of course. And it was running at the same time, so it would have been tough. But maybe one day they'll be able to. But there will be, I'm sure, deck lists going up at some point for that event as well, which will be, everyone will be frothing for those, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So, where did you come in this big 120-man CC event?
Yeah, pretty well. I finished 7th place, so
that's all right.
It was 6 rounds. It was 6 rounds of Swiss cut to top 8 for 120 odd players. So
that's rough.
We worked out you have to be X and 1 or better. If you go X and 2, you're out. Even if you win your first 4 rounds and lose the last 2, I think you're out. So. I think we ended up being wrong. There was one guy who snuck in, winning the first 4 and losing the last 2.
But he must have been at the top of the table of that.
He was. It was an X and O going into the last two rounds. But we were basically not. I went into that tournament with my friend and teammate Rohan Khanna, who one of the greats in the game currently, in my opinion, and we were both on Chain. We haven't really, at least I haven't really tested too much. I played a bit with my flatmate Truce, Mr. Truce Arcane, and he's a Bravo and Prism, so playing a bit against him, a little bit in Armories, but didn't test too much. More just theory crafting and just banking on the power of Art of War and Soul Reaping. And I was actually going to play Dorinthia. I sleeved up Dorinthia the night before, and I got binned off by I got binned off 3 out of 4 games against my mate Antonio and his Dash combo deck, which was a bit of a surprise for me. I mean, it was a beautiful deck, but yeah, Dora just wasn't running how I wanted it, how I wanted to in this format.
Got ya.
I just thought against Chain it had a good chance, but if you draw badly, Dorinthia for me in CC has been a bit of a grind. You thin your deck out for the first half of the game, and you kind of set up these big turns, but you don't often get perfect hands. You have to navigate with a low blue count and whatnot. And I was anyway, I put the Dorinthia aside. I thought, no, I'm just going to play Chain, which I've been playing for the last few weeks, and I'm glad I did. 24 Chain players, I believe, in the event. It was the most represented deck, followed by Prism. Yeah, it had a blast. I mean, the deck's a lot of fun to play. There is a lot of RNG, I must say. I know that my friend Rohan's not too keen on the deck for big events because of the RNG element.
Not even some of the op cards that Chain can access. You've got Dimensional Gateway, and you've got that other instant. Right. Yeah, you got some ops in there.
Yeah, Blood Tribute, right? I mean, someone played that card against me. We sort of looked at, and I'm gonna probably change my tune and test it, but we weren't really looking at Dimensional Gateway, or we certainly weren't looking at Blood Tribute. But then my one loss in Swiss was to Kim, I believe is his last name. He's a new player, and he binned me off pretty bad in the mirror. So he went turn 1 Dimensional Gateway blue, banishing Eclipse, and then he ursted me a couple turns later.
Oh god!
And I couldn't get it off the board, so I got destroyed in the mirror. And he was using, in that game I sort of played close to 73 cards. I didn't really want to cut down cards like Snatch and Razor. I thought would get an edge, but I think he played a streamlined Blood Debt Runeblade synergy deck basically, and the gateways were very good for him, and I got destroyed. So after that game, I cut down to 61 cards in pretty much every game, and it worked out very well.
Nice.
So I played one other Chain Mirror and got there, cutting down to about 60 cards. And other than that, man, it was just Dorinthias and even a Bolton in there for me in the Swiss. So,
oh wow.
Definitely my toughest 2 games, apart from my loss, of course, would have been in the 6th and 7th round. So I played Regan Herbert on Dory, and then I played Jason Lai, a new player, guy I brought into the game from Digimon of all card games.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so my game against Dory in the second last round, this is all winner outs basically. So me and Rohan both lost our second round in the mirror, and we just had to go 5-0 to make top 8. And so I had a game against Regan, and fortunately the man forgot his null rune. He probably would have got me otherwise. But I probably foolishly cut down to 60 cards just to try to smash him. And I guess I was close to being fatigued, but the MVP in that game for me was Unhallowed Rites. Unhallowed Rites is a Shadow Runeblade card that unconditionally puts a Blood Debt non-attack action from your grave on the bottom of the deck. So I typically go for a yellow Seeds of Agony, and my last turn of the game was 3 yellow seeds, blue and a red seeds, and a Vexing Malice into something else and into an Ursa for the win at the end. But you couldn't prevent it, so I think it was on 4, and I got there with just the Arcane at the end there. But Unhallowed Rite, some of the Blood Deck cards are really, really good. MVP for sure. Howl from Beyond was my best card. Card is fantastic. Really? Card is so good, especially with Riftbind. I mean, it's like a +4 on a Riftbind, but
gotcha.
It just forces blocks and just gets damage through, and it has Go Again, obviously, so you can get all your Blood Deck cards out. And my last round was against Jason, so he was on Bolton. Now, another warrior player, probably a fairly famous warrior player at this stage, Jason Thompson-Sheck, so, good friend and fellow Dory main. He was developing a Bolton aggro deck with Raiden, But he was also utilizing Luminous Ascension in his deck, which turns out is actually quite good with Raiden, which is like a mini Courage Blade Hold really when you get the the 0 cost Raiden. So when Monarch first came out, I looked at Bolton, and obviously it's a warrior. I was quite interested, but I didn't like the lack of interaction, or the lack of maximizing the value out of Luminous Ascension when you're using Raiden, which is his signature sword, right? So if I'm playing Bolton, I'm going to be playing Raiden because I like, obviously I want to win, but I do like the flavor of the heroes I play. I want to play with a few style points. So you got to be using his golden sword, But the fact that my favorite card for Warrior in the set, Luminous Ascension, didn't really go with it too well. I was kind of put off Bolton a little bit to start with based on that. But look, Jason both Jasons, Jason Thompson and Jason Lai both. Put together this Bolton aggro with Luminous Ascension, and it plays pretty well. I mean, you can tutor up the Lumina from a Beacon of Victory. You take flight and then you can beacon it, get the Lumina, and then just have your turn with Lumina and Raiden. And it's very, it can force some blocks like game against Chain. It's really interesting.
Yeah, no, that sounds sick, man. So then you got into the top 8 and came 7th. So what happened then?
So I got paired up against a guy called Ollie Berry, I believe he's from Wellington, and I talked to him a little bit after the event, and he's a Runeblade main, a guy after your own heart, probably, Hamish. He's been playing.
He sounds like an awesome dude already.
Yeah, so I talked to him a little bit at the Battle Hardened the night before, and he was questioning some of my card choices, probably fair enough. Sonata, Arcanix, for example, was a card that we chose to play that he wasn't too high on, but, he beat me pretty easily. It wasn't too close. It was a chain mirror, so he got, he was a higher seed. He won the dice roll, and I think he got a, his turn 1 was basically Grasp Token, Time Snap Potion, perfect turn 1, into an early Soul Reaping, banishing 3 great blood deck cards. So I lost tempo at some point. I think I had a couple hands where I had no attack action card in one hand, and early without too many blood debts coming, so it was a bit of a hand, 3 seeds of agony in your hand. You can't really block or attack with those cards. And my tech cards, so Rohan and I bought Chains of Eminence, 2 Chains of Eminence to the deck, and that was purely for the mirror. And I've never played it before. People have sort of suggested it to me. People have said, "Oh, why don't you play this in Drymphere?" And I thought, no, hell no, I'm not playing it. I'm not playing that card in Drymphere. I'm the proactive player here. I don't need to be disrupting them with that card. So, but Chain in the mirror, we felt it could give you a huge edge, sometimes just win the game on the spot if it's timed correctly. But in this final, I drew both Chains of Eminence in the same hand, and it was not really the right spot. Like, it was quite early, so, I think I blocked with one of them because my hand just wasn't really doing much. And I played the other one out naming the seeds, but I don't really... Yeah. He didn't hit any seed. He might have had to Arsenal red seeds, but he didn't he didn't get screwed over by it big time anyway. And he basically just tempoed me up for the rest of the game there. I mean, that chain mirror is it's, I feel like, pretty hard to get the tempo back from mid game onwards if you're behind. Chains of Eminence is one of those cards that can do that. That's why we played it, because if you're behind, you can just stall them the turn and get the tempo back. But
absolutely,
yeah. The talk of the tournament was the Katsu. The Ninja Turtle, the Katsu control deck. So the top 8 was 5 chain out of the 24 that played. And we had 1 Dorinthia, we had 1 Prism player, which was Nick Butcher, and we had the Katsu player. So I think, I know Nick was saying that, he, for example, played this Katsu player in the quarterfinals and expected an aggro Katsu deck. And this is probably how he got a lot of people. So he sided out all his Genesis and all his auras and slow cards and decided basically for an aggro deck, and he was not an aggro deck, so he got beaten pretty badly just in the sideboarding.
So that's the stuff that's exciting, where you sort of think, it's going to be like this, and these are the sort of tournaments that really set the tone going forward now on what you're the first guinea pigs, really, aren't you? You brought it in and you threw it out. You're going to find out what worked, what didn't work, and yeah, just to hear that, Katsu won, even though I'm absolutely sick of Ninja, right, because of Blitz and Ira. And Katsu is not in the same boat as Ira, but to see Katsu win, I was actually kind of like, that's cool, man. I'm really cool. I was really expecting Chain, to be honest. Right, I think what we'll do is we'll wrap it up there, and yeah, thank you so much for joining in.
Pleasure, mate. All the best for your games coming up and the charity.
Yeah, man. Right, I'll catch you later.
All right, bye.
So yeah, no, that it was. I'm so happy I managed to get my boy Tom Penny on to the to have an interview. I've been wanting to try and get him on for ages, purely because of how much he's taught me how to play this competitively. So yeah, no, I was dead chuffed to manage to get him on, man.
Yeah, and let us know if there's anyone in the community that you'd like us to seek out and get an interview with, because we've got some ideas, we've got some people that we're working with. But if you have any suggestions, let us know, because that would be really cool to know who you'd like to hear from the Flesh and Blood community.
Absolutely,
and we've had two New Zealand natives on now, and as much as we value their insight into the game as the holders of the origins of the game, I think there's a big community out there, and we'd love to hear your suggestions.
I've got one guest on, although I'm doing a terrible job of trying to bring in some UK dudes on, but I have got another guy that likes to make some very, very cool mats for this game that I've been chatting to, and I've already mentioned him over in the podcast before, but he's kind of agreed to say he would love to come on and talk about his process. That's a little spoiler.
You're such a tease.
Spoiler.
But oh my god, Simon.
Big.
This is why I'm on the Desperados.
A couple of days ago, we hit 100 subscribers. You know what that means? That means we've hit our next milestone for a giveaway.
Boy. So we have got an Eclipse Existence for a lucky winner. Who is it going to be?
A cold foil Eclipse Existence. So I've taken the unique comments from episode 4 and episode 5, the two we've already talked about, and put those through our random picker. And George Sharp, thank you very much for your comment.
George Sharp.
George Sharp says, I freaking love the Flesh and Blood community because I've witnessed almost 0% toxicity, which speaks volumes for a collectible game. Folks are always ready to swoop in with answers to any questions. I completely agree with you, George. And please get in touch with us and we'll sort your prize out. Thank you so much.
You didn't give me time to spin the wheel, Simon.
The
wheel.
The illusion is smashed. It's the phantasm is popped.
No, I know. And it had all of my... the phantasm. You came in with a strength 6 comment, baby. Ruined my wheel.
Boom.
Fab jokes, everyone.
Oh, no. Honestly, that's awesome. So, there you go. There's our giveaways. 1, 2, 5.
Yeah, 1, 2, 5 is the next one. What is it, Hamish?
It is the mat.
It is the mat.
Is this some sort of quick test of just seeing how much I'm on it?
How did you know that off the top of your head? I had no idea.
I was like, the fear in Hamish's eyes when I sprung that on him.
I was just like
2 Desperados down.
I know. I sit there and I swear it's just like some sort of comprehension test of going, right, do you remember what happened on the last test? We said the mat. Yeah, we said the mat, Hamish. So almost close.
This is a Living Realms mat.
It is the Living Realms play mat.
So this mat is fantastic. I'm not bigging it up here. It's a really good
shit.
It's really good. Like super good. Better than some of the official Flesh and Blood ones. I would actually say that it's really
controversial.
Nice. The artwork is done by a real Flesh and Blood card artist, one of the best ones. They're all pretty good, to be honest, but he is up there. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a really good mat. I've seen people playing it on webcam. I've seen people playing it in real life, and it looks amazing. I've got one myself. It's fantastic. So if you're interested in getting that mat, please subscribe.
What do I have to do?
You have to subscribe. Are you?
I've already subscribed. Can I comment?
I'm already subscribed. I don't think we're allowed. But if you are not part of the Push the Pod podcast, you can comment and subscribe, and you will have a chance of winning that mat. So good luck to you all.
So The artist in question, everyone, is Christian Huerta, who did the art for Soulbead Strike, for Convection Amplifier, and I believe for Reverberate.
Convection Amplifier is got fantastic art, by the way. I don't think it's played very often, that card, but the artwork is amazing. And Soulbead Strike is a fantastic card, as me and Simon know very well.
Look, I'm 2 Desperados in Tripp. Now. Right, I'm 2 Desperados in, and why do I feel like I want to get Living Realms to just tell us about this guy? Because I want to ask him, hey, you never know. Do you want to do us a push the point? Matt,
stop teasing.
Stop teasing. No. And then you can have us three
cut the cameras,
kind of decapitated, or a coax a commotion sort of style thing where all of us are
that would be amazing.
Yeah, with all the beers, and then we can get some lucky winners. Also, I don't know, mate. My mind's just blowing. Anyway, that's Desperado.
Well,
that's while we're all in such a good mood. Yeah. We're in the sweet spot right now. We've hit the sweet spot of the drunkenness. We've got to make the most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm about to crack open number 3.
Exactly. So, we mentioned that we might have a brief chat about the different formats of the game, and by that I mean Blitz versus Limited, which would include sealed and draft play, versus Classic Constructed.
I think that's interesting that you've put Blitz and Constructed against each other, because it's almost like for me, I feel like Constructed is better than Limited in my opinion overall. So if I was going to
just a blanket statement,
for me, I prefer creating a deck and playing it. I don't like random.
So you would put Limited versus Constructed and then split each into 2, sealed and draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's sealed and draft, isn't there? Sealed and some people probably like sealed, some people probably like draft, and that's a limited format. And then I think that could be the same on that side. And I think they're just 2 different beasts overall. You know what I mean?
They are. However, I'm just going by the way events seem to have been organised recently. Fair. If you have a Blitz Constructed event, it is Blitz Constructed all the way through. If you have a Classic Constructed event, it is Classic Constructed all the way through. However, the precedent at the moment is for a sealed event with a top cut, you go sealed for the Swiss portion, and then you go for a draft for the top cut, and that might be a top 8 draft, it might be a top 32 draft in pods, with multiple drafts as they did at calling. That was all I was doing.
No, I know, but I think the only reason they have to do that is because they can't do a draft only thing a size that they had. It's just far too big. Otherwise, I think, and this is only a theory here, a game theory, that I think draft is probably the thing that everyone universally, even I think even the LSS dudes even said, look, drafting this is just sick. They even just do the pick one pack that they do, that they've put a lot of focus on. Pack one, pick one in draft. I think they're really honing in on like the drafting side of things, and that I can get behind. Sealed is sealed. It's like Keyforge if you've ever played that. You just get your packs and use what you got. Anyway, I don't know where we're going on with this, but you know where I sit with this. I'm a constructed player.
I'll set my stall out for these because I really enjoy sealed play. I like Arc sealed. I like Monarch sealed especially. I haven't actually had a chance to draft.
Nor have I, to be fair, but it does sound so much better
because we haven't been in person. But if you were going to ask me to pick between Blitz Constructed and Classic Constructed, I would have a really hard time doing it because, I prefer the gameplay in Constructed. Right, I'll tell you, I prefer the gameplay in Classic Constructed. I prefer the longer games where you can set out a game plan. And the game ebbs and flows. It moves between players, and you get more chance to rectify any small mistakes that you make and any variance in the card draws. Yeah, that smooths itself out over the longer game. Whereas in Blitz, I feel like you have once the tempo changes you're not getting it back. So if you lose tempo in Blitz, I think you're done.
Yeah,
especially with the current all-out aggro. Meta, it seems to be that way. However, from personal circumstances, playing 5 or 6 rounds of Blitz is much easier than playing 5 or 6 rounds of CC with a top cut. because I don't often get that amount of time away from home.
Well, okay. That for me, I prefer CC. That's pretty much one of my most favourite and only. Like, I don't mind Blitz. I'll pick Constructed over Limited. Haven't tried Draft. Willing to give it a go, but any sealed event, kind of just not fussed at all. Really, I buy so many boxes. I have so much product. I don't really get so enthused to just live by the randomness on whatever I grab. That's not the most exciting thing for me. I don't really want to travel and pay money to travel there to just go dud packs. And maybe I'm just looking at this far too negatively, but that's just the way I how I view it. But yeah, no, I prefer CC. Just I think it's that is to me the full beans of the game, really.
Right, come on, Tripp, give us your opinion.
Yeah, come on, Tripp. You've been sitting there silently.
I've been sitting there silently because my computer just destroyed itself. But now I fixed it, and now I'm ready to give my opinion on.
That didn't happen, everyone. That didn't happen. There was no destruction.
It's a seamless podcast with no issues at all. That's why I was not interjecting at all. So I've never done Draft. No opinion on Draft whatsoever. I imagine I would enjoy it quite a lot. I really enjoy Sealed, but I don't think I'm very good at it. I don't consider myself a deck builder at all. So I don't like to net deck, but I will look at other people's decks to like inspire the foundation of what I want to do, and then I will pick up the deck, change it based on what cards I own, and then start playing it, and then I will change the deck a lot as I start playing it. So I probably have not played the same deck to this, like every tournament I will change something. I will continuously adapt the deck, but it's nearly always based on something that someone else has built, because I don't consider myself to be a very good deck builder. So for example, the deck I'm playing at the moment is heavily inspired by a deck that Dyson from the UK Discord, big shout out to Dyson, played against me, and I really liked the way it looked. I didn't ask for the deck list, I just looked at the cards that he was playing, and I was like, okay, I think I know what that is. I'm going to try and build that myself, and I really enjoyed it. So that's what I tend to do. So I don't find Sealed very I don't find success at Sealed very often, because I just don't think I'm very good at building a deck, and I probably would be very similar in Draft 2, because I'm not a particularly good deck builder. So Constructed is an interesting one for me. I've only really played Blitz. I've played 2 of the League Classic Constructed tournaments. I've done terribly in both of them, losing the majority of my games. And I think that's mainly because I've never really landed on a Classic Constructed deck that I particularly love to play. I've changed around a lot, and I've never really settled with a deck like I have with Blitz. In Blitz, I've nearly always played Ira, and I've loved playing Ira. I feel that I'm quite good at it. I'm good at it because I've played it a lot. I'm not particularly great player. I've just played the deck a lot of times, and I know what I'm doing with it, and that's why I have success with it.
But that's what makes a good player, though, right?
But yeah, that I agree. I'm also quite lucky, so that helps too. And also, I think so. I was thinking about this because we talked about we probably have this conversation, and what I think will happen is I love Blitz. I can never think of playing any format other than Blitz. There'll be a point where I start playing Classic Constructed. I find the deck that I want to play in Classic Constructed, and then I think I'll never look back. I think it is going to be that kind of thing, and I think we see that with a lot of the New Zealand players who've been playing Classic Constructed since the start. They've not got that background necessarily of Blitz, and they maybe can't understand why people enjoy Blitz so much. And I think Blitz is convenient, it's fun, it's fast, it's really great. But I do think that once we start switching over to Classic Constructed, we're going to find it really tricky to turn back to Blitz, because I just don't think we'll find the strategic depth in Blitz that we find in Classic Constructed. I think it's very similar.
I agree.
It's very similar. Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's very similar to what we've gone through in the UK with our experience of TTS, webcam, and in real life play. We started with TTS and we thought, this is fantastic. We don't even need to own any of the cards. And then we started doing webcam and we thought, wow, TTS is so clunky, it's awful, webcam is the way to go. And then we started playing in real life, and then we're like, oh, talking to people is really fun. Who knew actually being in a place and actually playing this game is really fun? And I think we're going to develop, and I think it's going to be the same thing for the European community, because we've been playing mostly Blitz, is that we'll pick up CC, and then we probably we'll find it tricky to go back to Blitz again.
And I'm somewhere in the middle.
No, Simon, I know deep down you're a CC player, mate. Come on, come sit with me. Doesn't this taste great? Fence, don't worry, I'm just going to be sitting here. All we got to really do is just find Tripp a lovely, lovely hero that he really wants to get in on, and then we'll just say, and you've been playing Bravo, and I tell you what, out of all the guys in CC, he is one of the most adaptable heroes in the meta at the minute. So,
yeah, I'm looking at Bravo. I'm eyeing up that control Katsu though. That does appeal to me as an Ira player. I like something about having 9 flick flacks, man. That just feels fantastic. But
yeah, there you go. We'll just give it a go.
We'll see. We'll see.
So what I want to do, what I would love to do, just before we wrap up here today, is just give a quick rundown of some of the events that are coming up in the UK. Now, skirmish season is underway. Mana Screw has a pod-based skirmish on Sunday the 13th of June.
I'll be there.
And
I'll be there.
The big, I'm not there, I'm afraid. The big weekend, I know. The big weekend coming up is the 26th, 27th of June, when potentially the UK might be out of lockdown, although that is looking less and less likely as we go. However, Trinity Card Capital in the Northeast has a Friday night sealed skirmish with a top 8 draft on the 25th of June. Living Realms and Kingdom Gaming and Darksphere have split the country, and they have sealed skirmishes with top 8 drafts on the 26th, which is a Saturday. And then on Sunday, Underworld Gaming in Nottingham has a 16-player Blitz constructed skirmish in Nottingham. So go out, enjoy your flesh and blood experiences over the next couple of weeks. I'd love it if you could all like and subscribe to this video and our podcast, and please leave a comment. Any comments, positive about the community, any suggestions for interviews you'd like us to do. Give us your thoughts on Classic Constructed versus Blitz Constructed versus Sealed. We'd love to hear from the community. Give us some talking points for future podcasts.
Give us content, please.
Yeah, please. And seriously, your kind words coming from all corners of the community just make it a pleasure to do these podcasts, and we love hearing from you. So yeah, please don't be a stranger.
Simon, it sounds like for the first time we need to keep you awake. Is this alcohol? He's finished it, guys. Right, okay, so you finished all your pint. I'm almost about to wrap up my 3rd bottle of Desperado. How have you kept...
I've still got half a bottle left.
You still got half a bottle? Bloody hell, Tripp.
These two are... I'm at work tomorrow, unlike these two, so I've got to be a bit more careful. But no, thanks for all your kind comments, everyone. I agree with everything Simon just said. It's been great to read all the positive feedback on the podcast. And we're looking forward to creating even more and more content in the future. So.
Yeah, man. Right, peace out.
Good luck editing this, Hamish.
Bye.